Dear viewers, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we'll be discussing on writing skills. So meaning of writing skills, how to arrange the paragraphs, so how to choose the business words, and all these things we are going to learn in this video. Kindly watch the video till the end, like it, share and subscribe the channel. If you have any comments about the video, please put your comments in the comment box. Now, let's move to the presentation. Writing skills are important part of the communication. Writing is a medium of human communication that represents language and emotions. It acts as the connectivity between the two persons. You may be knowing that every day in the newspapers we will have the various columns which will appear, and through that people will get acquainted with each other. So the reader is going to respect the ideas of the writer, and the writer is going to write the things which are expected by the readers. And such writing skills allow to communicate the message with a clarity and ease to a far larger audience than through face-to-face or the telephonic conversation. Such writing skills include grammar, spellings, punctuations, using capital letters, knowing the reader and their medium. In order to be a good writer, one has to imbibe, develop and inculcate at least a few necessary skills relating to the language in which one wishes to be proficient. The writer should have a deep knowledge of systematic harnessing of words suiting to the situation and the context. Always a writer plans to throw a torch on the current issues through his columns. And the writing, it also differs from one to another. So any hard and hurting situation can be smoothly passed off with the help of writing effective sentences. The sentences should be in a coherent and a comprehensive manner. The paragraphs must be arranged logically and sequentially and be presented in a very concise, pleasant and acceptable style. So now let's understand what is meant by writing skills. Of course, writing skill is an essential to know. It is essential to know the writing skill according to the situation. Writing of an application is different from writing of a letter, and the same is differing from the writing of an essay or something else. So at every walk of life, occasions arise when we are compulsorily made to write the business plans, strategies, reports, programs, budgets, resumes, applications, press notes, etc. here. Every situation has got its own uniqueness. How we write a resume is totally different from how we write a report. So writing is a medium of human communication which represents language and emotions through recording of the signs and symbols. It's a complement to the speech or spoken language. It's a form of technology that is developed as tools of human society here. So the writing skill is considered to be an important part of communication. Such writing skill refers to know well about the sentence structure, using paragraphs, using proper punctuations. Poor writing skills or a spelling or grammatical mistake create a poor first impression, and many readers will have an immediate negative reaction for them. Such writing requires a lot of things. The writer should have a vast reading while writing, so that he can make use of the proper words, he can make use of the proper idioms to convey his message, what is there in his mind. A correct grammar, punctuation, spellings are the keys in written communication. The reader will form an opinion about a person and form. The errors are likely to lead them to form a negative impression about the writer. The best aspect of that writing is a skill which can be learned. Such good writing is possible through reading the matter aloud. Whatever he reads, he should read it loudly so that he will come to know the mistakes committed by him while writing. Then reading new words, sentences, keeping in mind the reader to select the correct medium. Writing in an informal or formal way, deciding the suitable structure. So these are all the things which will influence, these are all the factors which will influence a writer. Many times, writing for specific occasions arises. It may be writing a conversation or a proceedings of a meeting or preparing a report or even letters. In workplace, writing skills will have variety of the benefits that will also lead to his promotion also. So it is nothing but avoiding unnecessary jargons, industry specific words, or keeping sentences short or the long. The purpose of writing is to convey the message, not to exhibit the mastery of the writer here. He might have well read, but how he conveys, that is most important. It should reach to the common man. The other person should understand the purpose of the communicator here. So this knowledge stays for a longer period. As such, there is a need for polishing of writing skills. Similarly, many times the necessity of writing job application letter may also arise. There are plenty of occasions of writing the things here. If writing at home, some of you may be very much interested in literary work, where you can go for writing your own poems or the story or the short stories. Or say, for example, writing a job application. Then writing at a workplace where you need to submit the report about an incident or some project, or you need to write a project report. And writing for studies, like it may be like an essay or a report or a research proposal or even a dissertation or the PhD thesis. So all these can constitute the various occasions of writing. Now let's look into the steps involved in writing. After deciding the matter to be written and for whom it is being written, the writing actually starts. So these steps are here. Begin with your reader. Draw a sketch. Adapt AIDA technique. Be empathetic. Make it attractive. Concentrate on the main theme. Use of simple language. So now let us discuss these things one by one here. Begin with your reader. Always the writer should understand the sentiments of the reader. A reader may not be having a wide variety of the knowledge. So while writing, the reader should understand the length and language of the length of the vocabulary and the language of the reader. So all these things should be kept in mind before he goes for reading. Assume that if the person is having a knowledge of English and if he writes a person who knows only Kannada, then in such case it will not serve the purpose of the communication. So that's why a writer should write in such a language which is understood by the reader. The writer should convey the message to the reader in a very simple sentences. Therefore, a popular phrase called as think before ink is an ultimate approach here. Then draw a sketch. Always a writer should outline of the whole things to be covered and how he should it put in a convincing way. Especially when a lengthy matters like a reports, presentations of the speeches are to be delivered, an outline becomes an essential requirement. It is better on the part of the writer to prepare a skeleton here. This enables in orderly arrangement of the thoughts, then catching the attention of the reader and enabling him to get the feedback about the written messages here. Then the next one comes here, adopt AIDA technique. Of course, this AIDA is an abbreviated form of attention, interest, desire, and action. The writing should attract the readers with a catchy words and sentences. It should create an interest in the reader. Perhaps you might have come across many catchy sentences in the newspaper which will make you to read thoroughly. A small sentence that will attract the reader so that the reader will get interest and he will start reading. The interest to be converted into desire with offers. Finally, the desire should lead to an action. So normally this technique of this AIDA technique is properly used in case of the sales letters. So where the company should use such words which attract the reader, and you should create an interest by highlighting the advantages of the product. Then you should create a desire by offering a product at a reduced price or with some discounts, etc. Then which will initiate the action of the reader to buy the product. Then be empathetic. Here empathetic is nothing but placing oneself in the position of the receiver. In others to say, it is nothing but putting into the shoes of a reader. The writer should respect the sentiment of the readers. This is useful in writing the sales letters, adjustment letters, and writing quotations. Then the writing should be more attractive. All the writings of the motivation, inspiration, and persuasion, it is necessary to write in an attractive style. It means that to communicate, people should listen to the writer, pitch your voice in a way that engages your audience and present information rationally. Of course, in case of the business writing, it's more directive, where in case of the other writings, literary work, it is indirective. So where you should make use of the idioms, phrases that will attract the interest of the readers. Then concentrate on the main theme. Always the writer should begin with a purpose and he should carry the same purpose till the end of his writing. He should not deviate from the main theme. So he should concentrate on the main theme, and reading should be finished in a very short time only. Use of simple languages. In order to be confident of receiving the expected reply, placing the matter in an easy and understandable way is essential. So that's why use of simple and direct and short sentences must be used in the routine matters. If writing is scholarly in nature, then the content may be put in a technical style. So choosing of right words. So we here it may be like a choosing of the common English words, choosing of the right words for the business communication, then choosing of the right words for from foreign languages. So now let us discuss here. Here's choosing of a common English words. Here the writing process begins with the choosing of the appropriate words. Communication will be simple, easy, convincing, appropriate, correct, and positive only with the choosing of the right words. Say for example, a same word can be used as a noun as well as a verb. Take for example, advice and advice. Advice is a noun, whereas advise is a verb. So the writer should know when to make use of the word as verb or as noun. For example, I advised him to take rest, or the doctor has advised him to take rest. I gave an advice to take rest, or the doctor gave an advice to the patient to take rest. So here how we should make use of the words. Similarly, affect and effect. Affect, it is a verb which means to influence. Where, for example, the economic forecast will affect our projected income. Effect is a noun meaning the result or the outcome. Today's GDP, it is the effect of the pandemic. So this is to give one more example here, cite and cite, C-I-T-E and S-I-T-E. CIT, cite, which is a verb form which means to mention or to quote as an authority or an example. whereas SIT, site, which means a particular place, is a noun. So that's why here one must be very careful while making use of the words either in a noun form or in a verb form. Similarly, there are plenty of examples like a complement and a complement, discrete and discrete, eminent and imminent, hardy and hearty, ingenious and ingenious, lightning and lightning. So there are plenty of words. So one should have a proper idea with respect to how to make use of the proper words. So when there is a proper usage of the words in writing, that will enrich the beauty of writing, and which will convey a proper meaning to the reader. Now let's look into the certain usage of right words in the business communication. Account, pay, check. Normally this is a common phrase which come across in the business arena. The cross of a check gives direction to the collecting banker that the proceeds of the check should be credited to the pay's account only. Suppose, say for example, if the check is a crossed check or account pay check, it cannot be encashed at the counter. So for that reason here, the person should have an account in the bank, and through his collecting banker only he can get the amount here. Then affidavit. It is a declaration in writing in the presence of a solicitor with respect to his personal details. And such affidavit normally required in case of the business whenever in order to prove the things here. The next one comes here, caveat emptor. It means buyer to be aware. A supplier refuses to admit any complaint from a customer. But normally this kind of behavior is not accepted in the business to survive. The next one comes here, compensation. It is something payable in cash or concession or allowance to a customer who has made a claim. Assume that during the period of warranty, if something has taken place to a product and which is not in a working condition, in such case the customer can go for claim. So in that case, the seller either he can replace the product or he can return back the amount which is paid by the customer. Then comes here the jargons. It refers to a technical language or the vocabulary pertaining to a particular field. Say the terminologies, they differ from one to another. Say for example, the terms used in the medical field are totally different from the terms which are used in the business. Say for example, in the business we use debit, credit, which cannot be understood by a common layman. Similarly, in case of the medical field also, like blood pressure, or it may be like pulse rate, which cannot be understood by a common man. Then the testimonials. They refer to the original documents of testing the merit, qualification and the ability of the person. So normally in case of the application letters, you need to enclose the photocopies of the testimonials. Then comes here a trial order. This is another type of the order which is placed to just to test the success of the new products. In other words, it is the order placed on the satisfaction of the terms and conditions, that is nothing but the quotations of the supplier of the goods. Then the next one comes at the cash discount. Of course, there are two discounts here. One is cash discount and another one is trade discount. Cash discount is the allowance given by a creditor to his debtor while receiving the amount on account. Say for example, when you go for a purchase on cash basis, normally this cash discount will be allowed. Whereas a trade discount is the discount which is allowed on bulk buying or on bulk purchases. So it is allowed as a percentage of the total invoice value here. Then the next comes here circular letters. These are the letters which circulate a common message to a large number of customers. Say for example, if there is a change in the constitution of the firm. Assume that if a partnership firm is converted into a private limited company, or a private limited company is converted into a public limited company, in such case you should circulate this message to a large number of customers by providing in the newspaper or through the electronic or print media here. Then it may be like, say for example, whenever a new product is introduced in the market, so in that case the advantages of the new products must be highlighted. Then similarly, say for example, it may be like shifting the business premises from one place to the another, or opening of a new branch, or retirement of a partner, or admission of a partner, or dissolution of a partnership firm. So all those things must be conveyed to a large number of customers. In such an occasions here, circular letters are written. Then the collection letters. Here collection letters are those letters which are written to those customers who are having their dues. So say for example, these are the series of the letters sent to the debtors requesting them to pay the outstanding balances. And writing of such a collection letter is a very difficult, important task. So you should not hurt, you should not, or the writing of collection letter should not question the ability of the debtors to pay the money. Then the next one comes here, the guarantee. It is a promise by a person to make good any failure by a debtor to meet the financial obligations. So that is what we call it as a guarantee here. Then comes here the references. These are the names and addresses of the traders and bankers provided for accessing to the ability and character for status inquiry here. This is what we call it as a credit status inquiry letters. Assume that if a person requires the purchase of the goods on credit basis here, so whenever he is new to the seller, then in such case the seller may ask for the references. That means the person whom the recipient of the goods known by him. Then the next comes here a window envelope here. Here window envelope is nothing but it is a transparent part, envelopes with a transparent plastic panel through which the inside address of the letter can be read, so that there is no need to type the receiver's address on the envelope here. So these are the various, of course, like this there are number of words are there, words are there for the business communication, like a prospectus, or it may be like, say for example, inspection report, follow-up letter, or covering letter, or it may be like report, or it may be like tariff, or it may be like types of customers, or it may be like, say for example, voluntary offer, value, rate, etc. here. Now let's go for the next one. Comes here effective sentences. A writer should write effective sentences in the paragraph so that it will convey a proper meaning to the reader. Such writing of effective sentences require the necessary knowledge of the language, and it also requires a practice also. One must have knowledge of the rules of a particular language and its grammar and usage. That's why a writer should have a thorough knowledge of the grammar of a particular language. An effective sentence is one which begins with the main point and ends with the second most important idea, sounds grammatically, allows easy reading, facilitates easy understanding, and stays within a reasonable length. There are some guidelines with respect to for writing of the effective sentences, like a concise in sentence. Generally, the first draft need not to be fine-tuned, but the continuous practice of drafting takes slowly towards a perfection. Rome is not built in a day. When you go on writing, when the writer writes repetitively, it gives to a fine-tuning. The concise sentences are those which do not contain any unnecessary materials. Such concise sentences may be in the form of yes and no rules here. Now let's look into no rules. So elimination of redundant words and phrases is necessary in case of writing the concise sentences. Do not repeat the explanation if a word clarifies the meaning. For example, if you write, today there is a birthday party at 7 p.m. in the evening. 7 p.m. the p.m. itself indicates the evening. Whereas again you should not make use of the word evening here. Then in the year of 2021, in the year of 2021 itself is another year. So again you should not make use of the year. And some people they write the final conclusion was in the meeting. So the final conclusion, the final will arrive only at the end. So that's why you should write only the final only. Then similarly there should be elimination of unnecessary lengthy words. Remove the words that unnecessarily stretch the sentence. Words and phrases make sentences laborious to read. Some people always they repetitively word in case of during the proposing the word of thanks, thank you, instead of using alternative words which convey the same meaning. Say for example, because, based on the fact that. So here the writer should make the necessary efforts to reduce the lengthy words. Then avoid all-purpose nouns. So that means here use precise words instead of vague words like a factor, aspect, thing and element. For example, one thing that became clear in the function that students were not listening well to the guest. Instead of using like this, instead of writing like this, it can be written, one problem that became clear that the function was that the students were not listening well to their guest. Delete needless qualifiers. Some people they say, in my opinion, you have completed this project. Instead of writing like that, the good writing will be, you have completed this project. I feel, I believe, in my opinion, all these are unnecessary qualifiers which should be avoided while writing. Then what are the yes rules here to write concise sentences? Focus on a real verb. The real verb should be prominent. An abstract noun most often ends with the suffix tion. Technical writing can be very weighted down if the writer uses abstract nouns where verbs would do far better. Say for example, people write like this, an investigation of all possible causes was undertaken. Instead of that, it can be rewritten, all possible causes were investigated. Then focus on the real subject. The real subject should be in a grammatical subject of the sentence. It should be highlighted. Do not bury the real subject. So instead of writing, the adoption of suggested solution would solve the problem. Instead of that, this solution would solve the problem. So it can be rewritten like this. Then use positive words in the positive sentences. Here the positive sentences are more easily understood than the negative ones because they cannot direct. In addition, positive statements are more concise and clear. For example, instead of writing, I did not gain anything from this lecture, it can be rewritten as I gained nothing from the lecture. And such writings of effective sentences required in case of writing inquiry letters, quotation letters, order letters, order execution letters, then complaint letters, adjustment letters. Then the next one comes here, logical paragraph. Of course, a paragraph is nothing but it's a group of sentences. Each paragraph indicates either a new idea or a continuation of the earlier idea. Paragraphs may be long or short, and sentences in each paragraph depend upon what and how needed to be explained. Therefore, construction of a paragraph is most important irrespective of its length or number of sentences. Paragraph is not a bunch of 4 to 5 sentences put together. Lunsford and Carnus define a paragraph as its group of sentences or a single sentence that forms a unit. So here the structure of the paragraph include the unity, coherence and variety. A paragraph takes up one idea or the topic or the theme at a time. Unity means that all the sentences refer to main idea. Say for example, if you're writing about the zoo, the writer should concentrate only on the zoo. All the sentences in the paragraphs are linked to each other. The topic or the key sentence expresses the subject. Then the coherence here. It refers to logical arrangement of the sentences with a definite plan. The sentences in a paragraph should be correlated or connect their subsidiary ideas and arrange them in an order of importance. Usually, the first sentence tells the main idea and the last sentence is the conclusion. The variety. In order to make the paragraphs interesting and readable, the length and construction should be variety in nature. Connectivity, coherence, and order may be provided in paragraphs with the help of the words or the phrases such as adding ideas, comparison, contrast, clarification, consequence, illustrating, result, reasoning, same ideas, and summing up. So, variety should be in the form of usage of the words or usage of the idioms, etc., which will provide a concrete meaning whenever it is read by the reader. Even today, the emails have come up. The business circle is now totally dependent more on concise messages in the form of emails. It has become the most popular way of communication in the business environment. It's a quick to several persons. This helps the reader to refer and respond quickly. It's a valid record and a trustworthy today. And all such emails should be written in a very short. And people make use of a CC, that is a carbon copy, and BCC, that is a blind carbon copy. Here carbon copy means CC means the same message will be sent to number of persons and others will come to know what is written. Whereas a blind carbon copy means if it is appropriate to share an email with a particular recipient without other recipients knowing. In this function, recipients will not come to know each other about the message. For example, you wish to invite 100 friends to a birthday party as a surprise. You put all 100 friends in BCC field and send the email. Every recipient will not come to know that whom the same message has been sent. They feel as a special and a secret message. They come to know only when they meet together in the party. Then while writing emails, do not underline, italize, do not make it a bold, capitalize entire words of the pages, and do not experiment with the humor or the creative writing styles. It may place the recipient in confusion sometimes. Do not think sending email until you are sure of the correctness. Do not reply to an entire group of your message is not relevant to everyone. Do not address the conflict, poor behavior, or other sensitive topics in the email. Learn. So to conclude here, to learn mastering the writing skills will be of important and helpful to everyone. It will be useful to any situation in one's life. And these skills are much essential to those who have to perform the job in offices, correspondence, advertisement, copy, sales letters, etc. here. Thank you for watching this video.